The analogy is that you don't work as an anchor here. You're a camera person or maybe a makeup person. Then early in the morning, we're on air and then you just jump and come and join us. Exactly. Why should we compensate you? Why? What's the point? You do the wrong thing and you expect, and that's what we have done over time. Exactly. People start massing up at places, we don't pay attention, we leave them, they grow, and then when the government moves to do their thing, and then we go and tell them, oh, let's compensate them.
I know my right.
Well, you know your right, so we know our left.
Anyway, George, take over.
Okay. It's now time for news here on your favorite morning show, New Day. For staying, and we start off from the law court, when Accra High Court has granted bail to the remaining 2 of 5 people, including former National Communications Authority Director General William Tevier, who are standing trial for willfully causing financial loss to the state in a supposed fraudulent procurement deal of a $6 million monitoring equipment. This was after the 2 pleaded not guilty to all the charges preferred against them.
The former Director General of the NCA, William Tevi, and one Nana Ousue's son were on Tuesday, January 9, admitted to a $1 million bail each with 2 sureties. They are to surrender their passports to the court registrar. The Attorney General, Gloria Kufu, and defense lawyers in the trial argued in court about the number of days the case should be heard in a week. While the AG's office was pushing for the case to be heard every working day in a week, lawyers of the accused persons argued for once a week, citing, among other things, the poor health conditions of their client. Resolving the disagreement between the lawyers, the judge, Justice Che Bafo, ruled that the case should be heard twice a week, thus Tuesdays and Thursdays. The judge further asked the AG's office to furnish the defense with all the documents they will rely on to allow for a speedy trial. The 5 are said to have fraudulently withdrawn some $4 million from NCA accounts without justification. After the hearing, the Attorney General, Gloria Kufu, questioned the commitment of the defense lawyers, adding the quicker the case is handled, the better for all parties involved.
We are now beginning with challenges of ill health of 2 of the accused persons. We are having to deal with that. 2, we are having to deal with commitments. Our office is also very busy, but we were prepared to sacrifice everything so that the trial could be heard expeditiously. And I am minded to think that the more expeditiously we handle, the better, even in the interest of the accused persons.
The full trial of the case is set to begin from January 16, 2018.
In other news, members of the Ashanti Regional Security Council will be visiting Agogo to engage key interest groups, including the nomadic herdsmen and the leaders of Agogo. This was just after a Regional Security Council meeting in the Ashanti region. Chairman of the council, Simon Osei-Mensah, has been speaking to TV3.
We don't want to do it in a rush too much because, you know, if you take Asante Achim North, it shares boundary with Sechra Prince, with Kumawu. If you don't think, because the court ruling says they must be moved away or out of that enclave, which enclave is Asante Achim North District. You move them there, they go to, let's say, Sechra Kumawu, or they move to Sechra Franklins, or they move to Mampong. It means that we are only moving the problem from one district to the other. That is why we want to look at the evacuation plan and take the possible initiative that will ensure that we move them and solve the problem once and for all, and the problem doesn't become a perennial problem.
Confusion about the payment of TV license still lingers on. Drivers who have installed TV sets in their vehicles say they will resist the payment of such license. Here's a report by my colleague, Evelyn Tingma.
The recent talk of TV license by the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation has received mixed reaction from the public. A television license is a payment required in many countries for the reception of television broadcasts or the possession of a television set. We are at the New Plant station here in Accra, and one can easily get a bus to any parts of the country. But in these buses here, one thing is clear: TV sets are available in almost all the buses, but are the drivers ready to pay for TV license?
Ours is not a TV. We use pen drives.
We are TV, a DVD, a screen. We program now in a beam muscle.
This is not a TV. It is a DVD.
What's it? A TV Angasa?
TV Angasa.
I don't know more shady.
There be none so we super drive or can. We go have no man or film. Busy penum. By the other TV, maybe no more year program for food.
Most passengers prefer movies to the TV programs. I am not ready to pay any TV license.
And it's a TV license, no. Oh, you're ready to say obey your TV license in there. Atakwabena is a long-distance driver, and he, unlike other drivers, is able to tune in to watch other TV channels. But he says any attempt to collect TV license from them will be unfair.
TV Ankasa.
Into why you're ready to say obey your TV license there?
TV license in there, and come to who they are man there.
If I know what the fees will be used for, I will pay.
Now where you are, Minister be an MPB budget, not as any bottom, and assembly member budget. Nobody. Dear whom fast will be a basso.
Now, insurance, road certificate, license, Moses Sano. TV license as I can.
We have other insurances to pay. As for TV sets installed in our buses, we can't pay for any license.
Most of the drivers the news team spoke to were not in support of the TV license, with others calling for education on the collection.
The Association of Magistrates and Judges of Ghana is demanding an explanation from the Works and Housing Ministry on why it authorized the invasion of the residence of a High Court judge at Cantonment in Accra. A private individual forced his way through the wall, claiming to be the new owner of the property.
This property has been in the possession of the judiciary for a minimum of 20 years.
The invasion of the private residence of the High Court judge occurred in the early hours of Monday, January 9. His wall was pulled down to enable the developer, Messrs. Ofosuhene Ajay, get access to the house. The entrance was also blocked with a heap of sand. Gravel poured onto the compound for supposed commencement of construction work by the developer. The developer made documents available to the judge from the Ministry of Works and Housing, indicating he is the new owner of the property. The document, cited by TV3 and signed on behalf of the minister by the acting director of the Works and Housing Ministry, indicated the ministry has reviewed a petition sent by Messrs. Ofosuhene Ajay for approval of a petition to the right of entry to the Cantonment Residential Area Infilling Scheme Plot 17. The letter stated the right of entry onto the property had been granted since July 2008 under the ministry's redevelopment scheme. The Association of Magistrates and Judges is unhappy with the development.
Clearly, it is unlawful. We can't imagine something happening just after we celebrated 25 years of, what do you call it? Yes, what we call multi-party government and trying to solidify it. We just can't imagine that something can happen just a day or two after. That shows the mindset of some people.
Its president, Justice Victor Ofue, is demanding immediate reversal of the decision.
They believe that they have some people behind them, and therefore they can do whatever they like anywhere. My information is that the judge complained, and he was as if, well, I don't care whether you are a judge or not. I have been given the place, so I'm coming for it. We think that the insecurity of judges is coming too clear for everybody to see. Yes. Of course, if there were a policeman here on duty, I don't think that the man would have done what he did.
Justice Victor Ofue maintained it is a test case for the president to resolve.
If you are doing it to people in the village, why don't you do it to somebody who claims that he knows everybody in Ghana? I believe the president is talking about the rule of law, and he means what he's saying. Probably this will be a test case. The president definitely will have heard what is going on because the minister has said of it.
The Ministry of Works and Housing and the private developer are yet to respond to the issue.
And that was my colleague Selom Amenya coming through with that report. On to other news, former President Rawlings has cautioned those living along the coast to desist from dumping refuse and washing in river bodies. He was of the view the consistent dumping could increase waterborne diseases affecting their livelihood and aquatic lives.
How are you? I miss.
Former President Rawlings made observation during a courtesy call on him by officers from Water Resource for Africa and some traditional leaders. Discussions among them focused on spearheading the work of the Water Resource for Africa, which is a new NGO formed in 2017. The Water Resource for Africa is into the construction of boreholes to assist those in the deprived and deplorable communities. Already, the NGO has built some boreholes around the Volta region, but has agreed to increase the construction of the boreholes to 1,000 before the end of this year. It has again earmarked the construction of 10,000 of the boreholes in Nigeria and other sub-Saharan African countries. These constructions, according to the Executive Secretary of the NGO, Dr. Donald Senanu, is to help meet the Goal 6 of the Sustainable Development Goals.
When you look at water, right from the billing system to the user, when you look at that supply chain, there is a lot to do when it comes to corruption. And if we can mitigate it from that angle and save the necessary investments there, that alone will be able to provide one borehole elsewhere.
To facilitate their work, the NGO has solicited the assistance of the former President Rawlings.
Irresponsible bad habits. It leads to the multiplying effect of these parasites. And that's an educational exercise I want to embark on. I'm looking for a boat that I can live on the river to educate and to police what's left of that lake.
He again spoke against the indiscriminate dumping of refuse in water bodies.
They are dance, very hygienically conscious. They don't dump things. They don't wash clothes and things in the river. They fetch it because over there, they've had the old culture and the habit of dipping into the river and drinking it straight.
His Royal Majesty for the Igbo community in Ghana, Ize Ihenatu, lauded the former president for his support.
If Nigerians living in this country, Ghanaians, traditional rulers can come together to have this as a project, as you are doing this, to provide borehole in each every community, believe me, within the next 5 years, all communities in Ghana will have clean water.
Other speakers encouraged the Water Resource for Africa to expand its frontiers.
My mission to bring you news is over, and just know for more news updates, log on to our website 3news.com. I'm George Quinn. Thanks for watching. Good morning.
Welcome back. So it's time to do an interview with a very young man who seems to have risen in the ranks of making fame, making a name in Ghana. And of course, he's been branded as the Free SHS ambassador. I'm talking about Rahim Banda. Good morning.
Good morning to
How are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. So let's start off with the Free SHS. Of course, you have other laurels, but we'll talk about that soon. But Free SHS ambassador, what does that mean for you?
Well, it's a big opportunity for me, and I embrace it very well. Thank you to my dad, thank you to the management team, Mr. Bafo, well, hope you guys know him, Prof.
Sure, right. Professor Jan Bafo, that's it. And I see, interesting. So you saw the very first, tranche of Free SHS. How was it for you, and what would make you accept such an offer?
Well, if you look at it, the horizons have been broadened now, because then people had the excuse not to go to school. Which is, I think, the financial burden on the parents. But now we've taken that burden off. And I think there is no excuse not to go to school now. So, too bad for you then.
How does it feel to be named an ambassador? I mean, what roles would you be playing, for example?
Well, my management team and I, it's up to us to come up with projects. And, for instance, we are thinking of linking the southern part and the northern part together to bridge the gap between us, because at the end we all write the same exam. So I don't think it's fair if I have something like my phone or my laptop and you don't, but then at the end we all write the same exam. So I don't think it's fair.
Infrastructure and facilities.
Yeah, infrastructure, facilities. We're also planning on building schools in the Zongo communities to improve education over there, which is also a big plus for us.
I see, interesting.
But come back to you, because you haven't been a direct beneficiary, but you've seen people in the first year of your school at least come in. So can you tell us, you know, your view of what the free SHS has transitioned from when it started up until now?
Well, at the beginning, it was a bit rough, because I guess every new idea and policy comes with their challenges. Right. Even in the making of modern day Ghana, those who fought for independence never said there will be no challenges. They never said an independent Ghana will come on a platter of gold. Right. So I think right now, situation has gotten a bit better. Better food, infrastructure, accommodations for everyone. So it's getting better.
School is reopening shortly. Or I'm sure it's reopened. Some of you will be going back tomorrow, Friday, and the week after. Oh, I see. All the best.
Thank you.
There obviously will be pressure on you, because now your mates and your school mates know that you're an ambassador. So if they have challenges, they'll come to you. Does it put the pressure on you? Do you feel the pressure already?
Well, pressure is something I've gotten used to at this point, which I think is right. And I don't think they would pressure me in any way, because it's actually helping me. As in, right now, I'm in an interview. They would give me some interviews too, hopefully. So it would be to my benefit. To your benefit.
So if somebody walks up to you and says, well, Ambassador Rahim, the food is not good. You are the ambassadors. Do something. What would you do?
Well, just explain to him that at the beginning of everything, there will be challenges. But as it continues to progress, those rough edges will be made smoother. So he should just look forward to
Does it come with some benefits? Ibrahim Atta was named ambassador as well. You are the latest ambassador, and this was made on your birthday, 25th November. Does it come with some benefits for you?
Right now, I'm not taking anything from the government.
You're doing gratis?
Yeah, just giving back to society.
I see.
What made me Rahim, sir?
I see that you have also been named as Ghana Job Bank ambassador. How are you going to manage both ambassadorial roles and you're being in school? The focus is for you too.
I think it works hand in hand, being ambassador for free SHS and being ambassador for the Ghana Job Bank, because the only way to sustain free SHS is if we have a high level of job creation in the country. And right now, the Ghana Job Bank is enabling us to do that, because right from the beginning of SHS, you're building your CV profile, and you don't have to go around holding your brown paper looking for a job through your CV and everything, because you can connect with your companies digitally through CV.
So what would you do as ambassador for Ghana Job Bank?
Ghana Job Bank ambassador. Well, we just started it. It was launched yesterday, so we are still working on the project. But then on the side of free SHS, we have a lot, and I hope to come back with more projects.
Do we have timelines for that? I mean, I like asking for timelines. So it's in January now. When are we supposed to see the project kick-started and see results, hopefully?
I would say soon.
Soon is relative. Amma, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. But anyway, we'll give him that chance because he has school as well. But for me, Rahim, when you go back to school, your role, especially as ambassador, because you're in school and you're supposed to be a bridge between the Ministry of, Education as well as your school. How then are you going to effectively carry out this role? Would you only do it when you're on holidays?
Well, majority of that will be done on the holidays, but keep in mind that I'm not working alone. I have a very strong management team with my father heading it. So we're working very, very hard on that.
So finally, perhaps on this one, you are a student of the Ghana National College, the school that Nkrumah himself founded. But there are other secondary schools, for example, in the central region. There's the Adisco, there's the Butche, all those schools, Wesley Girls, everything else. If you have to go around, globe-trotting in those schools to do some advocacy, would that affect your studies?
Well, right now, that isn't in mind, as in me going around while I'm in school. We normally do me playing the bigger part when I'm on vacation, because I think it's much more efficient and it's
But if you are the ambassador, the students would like to see you. The students at Butche or Prempeh would like to see you.
I'm an ambassador, but then I'm also a student. Just keep in mind, I'm a student and an ambassador. So I think one comes before one, one comes for one. Then Work hand in hand.
And you're also an actor.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations to you.
And you'll be doing some movies soon?
Yeah, we plan on using the entertainment platform to promote this free SHS Ghana program.
Congratulations and Happy New Year. Let's say good morning to Bandex. That's the man who gave birth to this star who has 2 ambassadorial roles to play at this point. Did you have ambassadorial roles at age 17?
No, I didn't. I certainly didn't. And so we're proud of you. Keep going high. But we'll take a break with the song Bononi. Enjoy this.
No one else can do the thing.
Welcome back and thank you very much. Let's get into the headlines. Of course, we have a couple of the papers here and we'll share with you what the headlines are. It says Daily Ghanaian Times says TMA Chief Executive bans dustbins in Tema, and Tamale mob attack police, vandalized vehicle. 3 soldiers cop shot by Fulani herdsmen in Agogo. Wounded personnel flown to Accra for treatment. So that's the level of insanity as perpetrated by these Fulani herdsmen. And I'm not excited at all at this point. Yesterday, the Regional Security Council resolved that they were going to eject them forcefully. I wish that this would have come way earlier than now. They also resolved that, well, whoever has destroyed somebody's farm produce or whatever it is will be brought to book. But did they have to take the shooting of 1 police officer and 3 military men, and they're struggling for their lives at this point? I'm told that the policeman has been released, has been discharged, but the soldiers, are still being held in the hospital because they need to treat them. And they attacked them on their blind side. They were among the herd, and they shot at the men in uniform. And this is it. These guys went to do rescue mission, and look at what's happening to them. And I think we've massaged the issue of Fulani for a long time. Is it because maybe there are some big people who own cattle themselves, or because we just don't have the political will, whatever it is? I don't get it. I don't
certainly think, I mean, it's multi-dimensional. There's so many issues to this Fulani headsman story, and I think if the big men were not behind it, maybe it would have been dealt with faster and in a better way, a sane way than it's happening. You know, the Daily Heritage carries a similar story concerning the shooting, but it says, this is coming from a Fulani headsman's side. He says, we shot soldiers for selling our cattle to chop bar women. You see, for me, for someone to come up with this excuse doesn't justify the killing or the shooting, attempt to kill a human being. The aim of the police and the military there was to clamp down or to help the Fulani headsmen in controlling the cattle, because of course we knew for a long time that they were destroying the people of Agogo, the farmlands, and that wasn't the right way to go. We all spoke about it. But for them to think that media have picked up the story and are only saying it in bad taste of the Fulani headsmen is not a reason to go out there and try to kill a policeman or a military man or shoot them. They say that the men, I mean, kill their cattle and then send it to the market to be sold by the women, and then the military personnel take money for it. You see, if this is what you really think, that's why the courts are there. Again, the point is, get your evidence, go to the courts, put your case before them, let the law take its own course. You don't have a right to take the life of anyone or attempt to do so, and say that because they're killing your cattle, you're also going to kill them to pay back. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't seem right. It is not the way to go. Even if you thought the media had given you bad publicity, you got the chance now to speak. And so speak the truth, make sure your facts are right, are straight. People will pick your story and the right thing will be done. But you don't have any right to kill anybody for that matter.
Let me tell you one thing. See, I find this excuse quite laughable, because
it is.
We know that arms or guns are not supposed to be in private hands. The Fulanis are private people. So where did they get the guns from? Who authorized the guns for them to have them? That's the first question we need to ask ourselves. Number 2, the Fulani have been destroying the farms of these peasant farmers and subsistence farmers and people who are trying to make a living from tilling the ground for a very long time. Who shot at them?
Nobody.
Number 3, the lame excuse that they shot at them for selling the thing to the chop bars is quite laughable. How and why do you shoot somebody from the rear, and tell us that, you know, so you ambush the person and you shoot at the person, and these are 4 people in uniform.
Yeah.
You know how much it costs to train just one man in uniform? How much it costs to train just one single person in uniform? Now, and there's a human life aspect to it. I think that we must be very serious about this, and to even have the effrontery to come and talk about the fact that your cattle is sold, and so you had the effrontery to shoot at a human. Are you all right? Is something all right with them? And I think that we have played, I would reiterate it, we have joked with this Fulani matter for a long time. Yesterday I was listening to the BBC. They have a similar situation in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And guess what? In Nigeria, they're able to clamp down on it. They actually are shepherding the cattle and telling the cattle where to graze and where not to graze.
Right.
In our situation, we just leave them, they get into people's farm. To the extent that even in Accra, at Kanda, right behind the Flagstaff House, the seat of the presidency, we have cattle roaming around there.
Crossing the street.
What an embarrassment and a shame.
Yeah.
Crossing the street, roaming around there. So if the president's convoy is at top speed, they would have to stop for the cattle. If somebody has a rifle or somebody has a sniper gun, he could just hit at our president. Yep. And we don't seem to care. This is a national security issue. So everybody who thinks that he's a security couple, he's a national security whatnot, and who is drawing salaries from our taxes, and who is keeping quiet about this, is a nation wrecker and a nation breaker. This Fulani matter has gone on for so long a time. Imagine that I have gone to the bank to take a loan to come and try my hands on farming, because now we're being told to get into farming.
Right.
And my uncle gives me 3 plots of land or 4 acres, whatever it is, at Agogo. And I start a farm, and some Fulani man who is not even a Ghanaian to start with comes and decides to destroy everything and has the effrontery to shoot the men who are in uniform to protect me, and tells me that it's because the men have been selling the cattle to the Choba people. Can you think about it? Can you imagine? Are we serious in this country? What is wrong with us?
No, like you rightly said, if they know how it feels to lose what you are guarding or what brings you money, and they're doing the same thing to the peasant farmer out there, they should put themselves in their shoes. Now when it's done to you, it hurts. Look, but when it's done to someone else, the farmers,
some of the farmers that, you know, our colleague Ibrahim Abubakar spoke with in the Ashanti region said, well, they've done it for a long time. We are used to it. Yeah. Now they're doing it to the men in uniform. We don't know what's going to happen next. Right. And this, I repeat, is a national security threat. For them to even have the guts to pick up a gun, I don't know where they got the guns from, who gave them the bullets, who gave them the right to shoot, who taught them how to shoot, how they acquired those guns, we don't know. But to have the audacity to shoot, because as soon as somebody wears a uniform, and if it's a military uniform, the president is the commander-in-chief. So the person is acting under the direction of the president of the republic. To shoot that man in uniform with the coat of arms means that you are shooting at the president. And that is very serious. That is very, very serious, embarrassing, disheartening, disingenuous, absurd, and all the words that you can find. Why? In 2018, we're still talking about these people. What irks me out is that we have them out there, not just in Accra. In Kumasi, you'll find them in the city center, close to the Flagstaff House. And I dare anybody to challenge me. I've seen them. I have photos. Me, I play by evidence. I'm like Thomas. So I have evidence. I have photos and videos of cattle around the Flagstaff House. When you take the presidential drive down TV3 and you take it down there towards the Kanda estates, you will find them around 2-3 p.m. You will find them almost all the time grazing out there. And it's so shameful. And I wonder, so is this the presidential enclave? Yeah. Is this it? Know that there were also some 2 motorbikers who went to rob, you remember, during President Mohammed's time, within 300-meter radius, and the taxi driver had to knock them. So around this small enclave, 300, 400, what are we doing? Come on, please.
That's still the question. What are we doing? Anyway, let's move on to the finder. It says 2,076 perished in 2017, and that includes 879 pedestrians. Also, trial of NCA former officials is to begin on January 16th. Also, immigration defends no refund of application fee. And then finally, ex-President Kufuor has said we need enterprising and creative youth to leapfrog poverty in Ghana. Those are stories carried by a finder. But again, you know, when it talks about the pedestrians who lost their lives in 2017, in as much as I blame some of the the drivers, I think some pedestrians also don't understand the rules of walking by the street. First of all, I understand that most walkways have been encroached by hawkers or other people. So yes, it's very narrow. But what you can do to protect yourself, there's a rule everybody knows that when you're walking, you always face oncoming vehicles. But oftentimes you see people actually walking alongside the vehicle, and with that, it's your blind side that faces a vehicle. So even if it's skidded, you wouldn't see and you'll be hit. But also crossing the street, we don't seem to understand how to cross a street. Our zebra crossing doesn't work in Ghana. Zebra crossing for us really is when the cattle is crossing, you should allow them to pass. For that, we will stop. But when a human being actually steps on the zebra crossing, people just seem to drive along. And it's as if the car is telling you, wait until there's no car coming, then you decide to cross. But it doesn't work. Toucan doesn't work. Pelican crossing, zebra car, we don't understand. I wonder whether we'll understand the pelican and the other crossings that exist.
Yes, the problem is that we have a lot of people who are not formally trained to drive. You know, people start off as driver's mate, or the uncle has a car. Sundays, they take them out, they go and try their hands, and before you know, they have a colleague or a link at the DVLA. They go there without testing for anything, and before you know, they have a driver's license in their hands. These are the people who cause these things. But there are also people who go and drink and drive. And they go past the police almost every time. They tell them, oh, I'm buying and they complicit them. So we need to start looking at the issues holistically. I saw that in 2016 or so, we had installed some cameras on our, what do you call it, on our traffic lights, atop our traffic lights. I remember that we were told that it's for monitoring some of these road malpractices and then bringing the perpetrators to book. It is 2018. I want to know whether just one person, has been arrested for traffic offense. Courtesy those cameras. There was one at the Nima Junction. There's one at the Flagstaff House Junction. At least those are the ones I've seen. I know there are some elsewhere. At the major roundabouts, I think at the Dankwa, Obechebi roundabouts, they were there. So I'm asking, who monitors those footages? Is there a surveillance team? And if they monitor, who identifies who has offended the law, by the traffic law? And are they brought to book? Johnny, because those things were put there, courtesy our money. We paid for them. So if we are not benefiting from them, they should buy small phones and share for everybody. Because those things, if we sell them, we can get money to buy phones for everybody.
I mean, right when they installed those cameras, I thought it was laughable because you and I know that even in small offices, people have CCTVs. They see the individual all right, but where to find that individual becomes a question. And we know in Ghana, that's the issue that will happen. We'll take a shot, we'll see the person all right, and we'll say, oh, we realize this person committed this offense, but we don't know where he lives. We don't know who he even is. So really, what was the point of those cameras? But you see, again, we've wasted taxpayers' money, and we're happy. We're sitting there aloof. But Johnny, again, we know electricity doesn't even work in most of these traffic lights. They're some are supposed to be solar paneled, but they don't work. So now the cameras, at the point when it happens, they'll tell you they were off. Right. And so we're back to square one.
I think that, look, in this day and age where we have sunshine for the greater part of the day, we should not be talking about electricity for some of these things. And I spoke with an engineer who told me that, well, most of the solar lights we have are mounted in this 90 degrees angle, but it's supposed to be inclined so that the sensors are able to pick, and then when dust gathers on it, it rains the dew, then it can wash it, so it makes the sensors sharp. But we bring it and we install it like that at the 90 degrees, 90 degrees like that. So then very soon the bulbs, the lights. And then so you find that when you're out there and it's dark, then it starts flickering. On the stretch from First Light all the way to Odoko, most of the street lights don't work. And to add insult to injury, they have dug trenches there, supposed to be used for planting whatever, And for more than a year, nobody's doing it. Now, if I'm not familiar with that road, and I'm crossing, I may just step into it. Or I may just miss my step, jump onto the street, and a car will knock me. So we don't think about the citizens. And that's why I expect the National Road Safety Commission to be up and doing. Once in a while you find a report, then they will analyze it, and then they will tell you, oh, we are doing this, we are doing public education, and they'll do small media thing. Then you find them by the roadside stopping vehicles with the MTTD and questioning them once in like 3 weeks, and then that's it. It should be a continuous process. Right. We have the Information Services Department, we have the National Commission for Civic Education, we have the National Road Safety Commission, we have the MTTD. We don't lack expertise, we don't lack the people, we don't lack the institutions. So why do we keep reporting these things? 2,076 lives in 2017. Do you know what they could have done? How much taxes they could have paid? Can you imagine? Good morning to you, Roads and Transport Minister. Good morning to you, Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection. This is a social protection issue. How far?
Anyway, moving away from social protection, let's talk about the lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transgender, intersex, interracial, whatever it is. But people are talking about it because it's back on the table. There's been heated discussions concerning this issue. Well, mainly the humanitarian aspects of it, but also because our culture doesn't seem to uphold this practice. But people have their own views as they rant with George Crane.
Is it bound to happen?
Johnny,
don't answer. It's okay.
Yeah,
Thank
I think
you.
I'll hold my peace. Let's hear what people have to say on the street of Accra.
This is what it feels
like. What LGBT people are looking for in Ghana is measures that must be put in place by government agencies to ensure that they are protected from violence and discrimination. The problem here in Ghana is that you have the specific provision in your criminal offences
Unnatural carnal knowledge.
Unnatural carnal knowledge, section 1041B, which is not necessarily being implemented, right? But it creates conditions where people are fearful of reporting instances of violence because they think that they themselves will be considered criminals. So it creates a culture of impunity.
You know, the interviewer asked you a very simple question, whether you were gay or lesbian. You say it's not relevant. Are you sure it's not relevant?
Very much not relevant.
Why would it be relevant, sir?
Because clearly, from your own analysis, it was the LGBT activists who asked you to do a research. You're just an instrument for pushing LGBT rights propaganda. And after that, you're asking and recommending that we should change our laws. And that's what I'm asking you. It's very relevant where you're coming from.
The lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender society in Ghana is calling for the repeal of the provision in the Criminal Offences Act that criminalizes, unnatural carnal knowledge. And this comes barely 2 months after the president, in an exclusive interview with Al Jazeera, gave a stance on homosexuality. And a survey commissioned by the Ghana AIDS Commission revealed that there are just 30,000 of them here in Ghana. And so is that time coming where the numbers will grow, which will translate into one voice for it to be legalized in Ghana? Welcome to Daily Rant.
In the first place, this is an issue that for me, we shouldn't even discuss it at all. Okay. Because in the first place, we know what happened to people who were involved and the kind of curse that came upon them. So religious-wise, it's out in the first place. If you come to our cultural setting, Africa, the whole of Africa, is something that is unacceptable. Just look at, medically, look at how people were affected. Where a man, a strong, capable man, will be having pampers under him.
Have you seen one before?
You see?
Me, I think it's a hearsay.
It's a hearsay, but there is no statement that will be made which has no an iota of truth in it.
Me, if you've seen it before, then I
have not seen it. But people who are involved and people who say,
let's say it's just me.
So such a thing is there, especially people who are talking to people who are involved in such behaviors.
Okay. And yet, now even crying on Bema, some of that, son and Ben mother. Some crime Ben son and Befan mother. Bema. ɛna ɔbaa ne ɔbaa nso so da kwan bɛ nso na mbɛfa no mada nanti wodwen ho a kyɛ sɛ ɛyi ɛfrɛ no sɛ mehu sɛnea mendwen ho mfa kyɛ sɛ wodwen ho a wontumi nhu ne nti a wɔn pɛ sɛ wɔn yɛ saa adeɛ no wɔn sɛ ɛde nyame bɔ ɔbaa ne bɛrima sɛ wɔn ntena wankasa ɔbɔ bɛrima ne bɛrima sɛ wɔn ntena nyame abɔdeɛ ahyɛseɛ no nyankopɔn ɔde Adam ne Eve ɛna kɔtena design turo no mu hɔ garden mu hɔ ɔka sɛ bɛrima ne bɛrima nkɔtena hɔ wɔn na ade nti na yɛ ɔde yɛ abɛyi asa na yɛ mmom yɛpɛ sɛ yɛyɛ nea yɛpɛ
nti mo yɛfa ne sɛ bia wɔn sɛ ɔba saa ɔbɛn dɛ
meba metu no fo bɛfrɛ na
no obi also ɔbɛ poison no
ɛno deɛ ɛnyɛ ɔne ne bɛkasa bɔkɔɔ ɛnyɛ gidigidi so kwara na wɔn ba sisi a no yɛmfa ɛhyɛ ɛnto wɔn so
bible akyi onyankopɔn na kasankasa akyiri Ghana mbala no so sisi akyiri ɛna me adeɛ wɔ kura me nya tipɛ na me bu afu
ɛne ntia
because of onyankopɔn kyiri ntimi susu ɛha me
ntu ndi bɔne wɔn
me di bɔne de sɛ bra yɛ wɔ me yɛ nyinsɛ me kura na yɛ bɔne saa da na kasa na yɛ bɔne na saa bɔne we die me de coming kwanga president Kufuado on twem na san krofo
eti ade na oka se we e bia boni we sum boni we so
boni we de se de nyankopɔ kura ya se de fensen abofo no kura wo so wo soro no saa so na me so e kame ntimi de me kame kwanga president na kasa on twem
me e bia menyi mpese me ware ntumi nkware be ma because my target is bia
sabrocho mo ye mo ware
Matio, my target is me peba. Na se and the domo mo no mo peba. Na my way me se me be worry. Me worry oba me ne be nya emma me ne be hwe enkola no. Be ma me ntumi ne wo. Adenti na me worry be ma. And I say oba ne oba ebe form. Nti no me side ne there. Enye ma me because oba yankopon say yen wale oba because obo me no me fim pade na odo oba adenti wan fa me fim pade ambo be ma odo oba nti me fim pade no ono na me ware na ne oba no no so me ne produce obe ma me ntumi ne produce oba be akole bi awom
nzami sanka utimi produce sanka obe okay
oh yankopon so anya ne sa yankopon so anya ne sa because me say about me no wambo we wumba ntu me yema me de ben nsen wambo wuma to be ma bi so ni mu a de ben nsen oboma oba nti no ma wo me ba small boy force na aja me ba adwuma me ne ba na me ko wale be ma me ne oba be ma na ha metumi awo metumi wo
one friend of force
obi a be wale a yes first lady it is this no president for ko wale mema you be from say first man enya dia ya di papa enkoye tibile mi say enya di papa cry say e be na ba ye mai mu ana Ghana hanu mu baby a
e won hia so mbeye because irade wo ye sent ye na ye bra asase na mbe wo okay na afi wo se ko ware obema wo de fin kra na e ba ho esa de ba asase no so ntabe ma dia irade kra ade ye sra na irade ko onyam maye enti it's not knowledgeable.
Okay, somewhere last year minim say ye chi obi a no ye bia ye bo no pa na the video no to social media it went viral. But one thing na nkofo ye ebusa ne say sa discrimination and violence no esuntwa. They are all humans like us. I'm not sure they're asking for too much.
What is the discrimination here? Where is the discrimination?
We say also who get bend them. Ask him.
Me the gini dem huna.
Oh, huna your bend. The person is also human being.
I believe that it is the Europeans who are trying to force that thing on us because it wasn't part of us. For them is for them. They should keep whatever they want and whatever they want to do and leave us alone.
But you
to live
also
our life.
believe that there are people here in Ghana like that?
I know. I believe there are people in here. Yeah. But who brought them? We have friends who were introduced into those things by those those same white people. If it were to be part of us, we would have known it, and it will be part of our cultural setting. But it wasn't there. So it is the Europeans who are trying to impose those things on us, and it is actually a curse to humanity since time immemorial. And I'll always keep, mentioning the Sodom and Gomorrah issue. Okay. It's actually a curse. If it is a curse, Why didn't we bring that case upon us, knowing what the source of that case is? We should just ignore it, just push it somewhere, and then we live our life.
And so would be a bono and to be yeshe. Now, I was a chiwa, maybe a court near Dubeco, and I be beside. And the end say, Nasa be born, be a beku, and I be bitan and dear. Oh, and your crom for.
So, maybe the Indian, Sir Bema bit my dear and your money. Sir Bema or bit me out, dear, won't cost one of me. And Indian can may say yes. Yamini.
Okay.
So Bema to
there's this survey here, Ghana is commission, a commission here, and it says that 30,000 people like that in Ghana. And don't you see, let's say 30 years to come, 20 years to come, the numbers will go, and so they'll get a voice. I be legalize them.
That is the main reason why we have to stop it now. It's the reason why we have to stop it now, before it's spill out. So far as you know it's a case, and you don't want it to get overboard, then quickly now we have to start working on it to stop it. But I'm just saying, I'm coming. Me sure say the issue we are discussing, and yeah, like Obia, ye Bonida, na say Onyim Obinya. We are specific on a particular issue. We are talking about gay and lesbian.
Nipa bi I want asisu ye ya de bonyefo ye boni.
Yes.
E free Adam ase. Because nipa ye wo beto asisu a akwala sua kasa obi nkyere ne ba se ka kire obi se didi na tem. Anako wi obi ade nso behunu ane nipa na to sa ade nu eye ade a ewo wiase a ye beto ye a ewo ho ti se gay ya ye kan ewo ho tititi na me kire wo se eyi mu penso nyina lot mu penso na ye de na wo ho ewo wiase a awurade nimu se wo ho a o kasa fa ho e ma ne mema ehia ware ne ayi nyina kane no wiase omo ba wiase a dispensation bia obi ane ne mra nyamedi agi nipa nkwan ne nipa betena sase so oni nyina e wo ho boni su ni nyina ho nanso no esan se Yesu Kristo no abewu amaye no se wo hu awurade na se odo homa na ne nyame won konkon no betena wo na wutu na mopa wo Kristo mu awurade na etutu nipa na mo no yi efri saate bia nye wa hoden boni bia nipa na sase so bia so ka se nipa betim de ne na hoden agyaye a magi wachinyi entimi.
Today's discussion had bits and pieces of law, religious and moral defense, and one key stance is homosexuality should never be legalized here in Ghana, and counseling is a way forward to avert future repercussions. And if you have any views on this, just log on to our social media platforms. On Facebook is News on TV3, and on Twitter is the News TV3. We sample the thoughts of residents here at Akwetaman Zungu. It's always a pleasure coming your way. Good morning.
Welcome back and thank you very much. The finder this morning says 2,076 perish in 2017 includes 879 pedestrians. Trial of NCA former officials to begin on January 16. And we need enterprising and creative youth to leapfrog poverty, ex-President Kufuor. Immigration defends no refund of application fee. The Daily Heritage says there was no intention to cash in on recruitment, according to the Ghana Immigration Service. And Mohammed's appointees set for trial, ex-NCA boss, 4 others to trek to court twice a week. We shot soldiers for selling our cattle to chop bar women, says Fulani man. And the Ghanaian Times says TMA chief executive bans dustbins in Tamale mob attack police, vandalizes vehicle. 3 soldiers cop shot by Fulani headsmen in Agogo. Wounded personnel flown to Accra for treatment. And the Daily Guide this morning says 7.7 million Ghana cedis for a Kumfi 1 district 1 factory. 13 galamseyers get 39 years. And NCA $4 million scandal gang of 5 trial begins. Finally, on the front page of the Daily Graphic says Kufuor advises you to take advantage of government initiatives. 553 SHSs failed to submit returns to GS and Trial of 4 former NCA bosses begin. They allegedly caused $4 million financial loss to the state. My guest this morning is a legal practitioner and a member of the NDC's communication team, lawyer Abraham Amaliba. Good morning, sir. Happy New Year.
Good morning. Same to you.
And how are you doing?
Very well.
I didn't see you during the Xmas.
I was in my hometown.
Yes, I picked the intel.
You got it. Right.
I picked the intel that you were chilling in your hometown.
Yeah, touching base with my people, not chilling.
Not chilling.
Yeah.
Okay. So there was no food, no drinks.
I always eat every day. So.
Nana Boashi is the Deputy Executive Director at the National Service Secretariat in charge of operations. Nana, Happy New Year, welcome.
Happy New Year, my brother.
I like your smoke. It looks like a smoke party this morning.
Yeah, yes, I mean, immediately I entered, you just mentioned it. Yes.
Interesting. How's the year been so far?
Oh yeah, it's been good. I mean, the previous year was good. This year I'm very certain and that it will be more fulfilling personally and then for government as well. And I believe that this year we will see a lot of things, a lot of projects, a lot of policies being rolled out to better the lives of the Ghanaian populace. Yes. And are you going back again? Your constituency is Bogatanga Center.
But this country that they are talking about that it was good in 2017, is it Ghana?
Please ask him.
That's 2017 was good.
Oh, he's the one saying it, so ask him.
I'm shocked that they don't have their ears on the ground. And the majority of Ghanaians said that this Christmas that just passed was a Christmas that could be described as dry Christmas. Then you come on national television, look them in the face, and tell them it was good. You see what, when you are in power, it can do to you. They've sadly forgotten that the people they said they were coming to provide for their welfare needs are now crying and saying that, look, times are hard. So, I don't know which Ghana you are talking about, but the Ghana in 2017 was a terrible year, and it is not just coming from me.
The ICU says they scored the government 80%. The Industrial and Commercial Workers Union scored them 80% in yesterday's finder.
Good.
Do you disagree?
And the trotro drivers are saying what? The taxi drivers are saying what? The market women are saying what? So go there and find out. ICU are a collection of group of people who are workers. Probably they know where to butter their bread. But the Ghanaian worker, market woman, the taxi driver are all complaining. So that is where you go to.
Brother,
yes, Nana.
I did something. Number one, I went out myself. And then the second thing I did was that because you, especially the media, you cover a lot of issues. What I did was that, and I think it became traditional for most media houses to move out there and then speak to people and ask them about the entire year, what has gone on, are you happy with it? And even just, I think yesterday or so, some continued because Sunday was exactly 1 year His Excellency the President was sworn in. And I'm telling you, majority of them said they appreciate what the government has done. They are expecting more. This is a genuine verdict. The verdict coming from the NDC's headquarters is not the verdict of the Ghanaian. And I watched, I listened. And frankly speaking, do you know what? I want my party to stay in power for a longer period of time. So I will not lie to myself. I will not lie to my people. I will not lie to my leaders. If it is not going on well, I'm telling you, I'll say it. And you see, I'm coming, my brother. When you go into the market and they tell you that we are okay, we are doing good, we are expecting the government to do more. And one person even said that he's even comfortable with the free SHS. Even if the president is unable to continue with other promises, he is okay with it. But that is not the case. The president is going to make some giant moves. The president this year, and I believe so, is going to move with supersonic speed. So for the NDC, probably, they try to create some monster stress somewhere
And you say they don't exist. So
well, that is what I'm saying. That
so
me, I will not even rely on the MPP's verdict. I will not rely on
you go out there onto
NDC's.
the street.
I went there myself.
So
I watched, and you yourself, TV3, you went. I watched that bulletin.
Nana, point well made. Now we're told that some service personnel besieged your offices in demand for their allowances. Is it true that the allowances are in arrears?
This is palpable falsehood.
2017 was good year.
Palpable falsehood. Do you know why? Yesterday, I was in the office the whole day till about 3 o'clock when he had a meeting with the senior minister. And no, in fact, not even a single personnel came to my office. And I was there. I've spoken to the workers. I've spoken to the security men out there. Again, because I left around 3, obviously, you may have certain things occurring, especially, on the blind side, and especially when you left the office. So what I did was that I called my sister, Dr. Gifchoware, who is my the deputy executive, yes, my co. My boss then was having a meeting with the economic management team, and she said no. And in fact, she's even in charge of finance and administration.
Okay.
I also called the accountant, and nothing of that sort happened. And so I was amazed, I was shocked when I heard in the news, and I'm told that it was carried by one of the NDC's newspapers. I think it was a Herald or Palava or so. And you see, last week, and you see, even if we had not even paid them, that would have even given the story some life. Because then it means, but you have not paid them. So there could be some genuine issues in there that indeed they besieged your office. But we paid them last week. The December allowance came last week. And we have paid 98% of national service personnel. 98%. The remaining 2%, they may have genuine issues. They may have problems. And also some people...
What issues are these?
Sometimes they don't even go through their metric processes, fully. They did not complete it. And then others also did reposting.
Okay.
So sometimes it takes a certain, you have to be verified, you have to go through certain processes. And then one key thing too, there are some others too who also did their national service after diploma courses or HND courses.
Okay.
And then because they have
gone to do top
up, they've done degrees, their names will be captured as part of the class list from that particular institution.
Right.
But you are not supposed to do your national service twice. So when the system detects that you have already done your national service some years ago and you are still enrolled onto it, it will delete your name.
Off. Okay. So those are the issues.
Those are just the 2%.
I see. Council,
So
you want to take a bite on
from.
this particular matter and then we'll move on.
I'm shocked to hear from you that the reportage that said that they had besieged their office was not true. I do not think that the media would have gone out there to as it were spew lies. I think that before yesterday, I had heard that there were some problems with payment of national service allowances.
Okay.
And one of the reasons they attributed to the non-payment was because some people could not fill their forms well and the handwriting was not legible. I remember that came up and that they were supposed to respond to that. Why is it that they did not pay them? And my understanding was that from the secretariat, they said, oh, some people filled their forms and the handwriting was not legible. That's why they couldn't pay them. And I said, how? Couldn't you have called these people back and asked them to rectify the situation? So for him to say that there was nothing of that nature and yet the media carried it out, I think that on this matter, I'll be on the side of the media rather than him because he's an interested party.
Your thoughts and comments as well on WhatsApp solicited at this point, 0508235228. Join us and let's have a conversation on this particular matter. But the Fulani menace, as I choose to call it, is surging. 3 soldiers have been shot, 1 cop as well. We're told that the cop has been discharged, but the soldiers are struggling for their life as we speak. I'd want us to bundle this into another mob attack that happened in Tamale. The police went to the rescue of a certain Aishetu, Meimunatu, and then they were chased off. They actually had AK-47 rifles. What does that say of our security situation? I'll start with you, Nana, on this one. Must we feel worried and threatened at once?
I have not read the story. How I wish you could probably
but
portions of it.
The Fulani story has been out there.
Yes, it's been out there. Yes, I just wanted to combine the two because you did it. That is why I said I wanted to.
Well, the situation in Tamale, if you're not comfortable with it, but the situation in Tamale is that somebody was alleged to be a witch. So the police picked the intel. They went into Bulagu, that's the village, to go and rescue this Maimunatu. And then the mob attacked the police. They had guns, AK-47. They shot into their vehicle. So you can tell the pictures, the police vehicle is damaged. And then they fled. So they couldn't take custody of the supposed witch and was left in the hands of the mob. Add that to the Fulani issue. Now they are shooting at men in uniform. What does that say to you?
Yes, it is worrying, and I think this should alert national security, especially the Fulani issue. I think it's been perennial. It's worrying, and sometimes I've heard stories that there are strong interest in this particular issue. There are some big people, I'm told that there are even some chiefs who have interest in this Fulani issue. And it did not start yesterday. It did not start today. I am lost as to why we cannot have a comprehensive solution to the Fulani issue. It is amazing, and this is not the first time we've had people dying, losing their lives as a result of the Fulani issue. I think we should call a spade a spade. Our security agencies, I'm very confident that they are up to the task. If they have to take some drastic decision, because sometimes maybe you know that you take this decision due to help the masses, but probably because of some few interest, you may
like political interest.
It could be. That's why I'm saying that there are even some traditional interest in it. Have you forgotten there was a video where they said some chiefs are even part of it? They have some animals in there, the heads, yes. So I think if we even need to bite the bullet, if we have to take some serious, drastic actions, if it will hurt, it should hurt.
What do you recommend?
You remember initially they said they were trying to drive all of them out, and I think there is even a Supreme Court ruling to that effect.
Right. So the police went there to effect the Supreme Court order.
Because you see, there's also the commercial side of it. Because we are talking about animals here, we sell them, we use them, it is part of our meals. So if we even have to relocate them, I think it's the relocation has always been the problem.
Okay.
And for me, the interest. So if there is, and I know, you know what, they have set up so many committees. There are so many committee of inquiry into this particular matter. I know there are reports. I know there are recommendations. You see, the recommendation may not be readily available to me as I speak, but I know because it's been perennial. And trust me, I know our national security couples, I know the police, I know from not today, not yesterday, but the years before, they have sat on this. There are recommendations there to be implemented. But you see, you get to the implementation stage and it becomes a problem because, as I said...
Can we trust this government to take the bull by the horn? And by the way, it's the Kumasi High Court's decision or the Supreme Court's. Can we trust this government to take the bull by the horn?
Yeah, for me, I think I would advocate strongly. I would advocate strongly that at least if there have been some steps taken by previous government to resolve this menace, this canker that have been taking lives, innocent lives, and we've seen it, we've seen the pictures, we've seen the videos. I believe strongly that there should be a strong advocate. Some of us will do so, irrespective of the consequences. That if there are recommendations that will generally benefit the masses, that recommendation should be implemented rather than probably some minority interest in this particular matter. And what happened in the North is also sickening. I remember there's a very popular tape of COP Kofi Boakye, a very good senior friend of mine, where in Ashanti region there was a small town and they were known for you know, visiting some of these mayhem, the atrocities on security men. And TCOP Kofi Boakye went in there. In addressing them, he told them that in the Akan Parlance, he said to trust them, even if you take us to bring the entire security forces here, it will be boot for boot. For me, I think this village should be, the security forces should move in there strongly. There should be reinforcement, because if a small village and then they are able to bring out these weapons, rifles, and stuff like that, and to the extent that you attack a security person or a security vehicle, it is serious. And for me, I think they should move into there. If there should be reinforcement, they should move into the village. They should be researching, get these weapons out, and try and then do what they have to do. It is very unfortunate.
Finally, maybe I'll come to you, Council, at this point. The Fulani guys have spoken. They said they shot the soldiers for selling their cattle to the Choba women. But there's also the question of the witch camps and why we still have maintained witch camps in certain parts of the country. What's your thought about this, the security situation in the nation?
You see, ever since this government took over, the security situation in this country has deteriorated. We have seen how lawlessness has been on the ascendancy under this regime. And so what we are seeing in Agogo is an add-on. When the NDC was in power, the MPP used the situation in Agogo as a campaign tool against the NDC and promised the people of Agogo that they had a magic wand. Here we are, 1 year down the line. Here we are, having this time round the Fulani men being bold and courageous to even fire at our security personnel. What is happening now is that we are all not safe. Because if the Fulani herdsmen have the boldness to fire at our security men who are supposed to protect us from internal and external aggression, then you can tell what will happen to just you and me who find ourselves or the people in that community. So it raises serious issues of national security.
Do we lack the capacity to act?
For now, that's what it tells me.
We have a national security minister.
I'm coming there. I'm coming there. Now, why is the security situation deteriorating at a time that you have a government that has provided for about 4 or 5 leadership in the security sector so as to ensure that the Ghanaian people are safe? Why is the security situation rather deteriorating? It should have been improving with this number of people being appointed to man our security sector. And so if we have about this number of people and yet we are hearing reports of this nature, my conclusion will be that the security situation is dire. We are failing. Who is the commander-in-chief? The president. What is he doing? I think that time has come for those who used to speak under the NDC to find their voices and let the president understand that the situation is becoming dire. If you have Fulani men, herdsmen, there are other Fulani people who are engaged in other activities, so they are not part of it. So let's not just say Fulani. Is that the herdsmen in this case? Who have AK-47s, who have rifles, who can visit mayhem at any time and attribute that to the security forces haven't taken their cattle
selling to
Choba operators. They should also understand that they operate in an atmosphere where there's rule of law. If they think that their properties are being taken away by the security officers, they know where to go, report their matter. But they don't take the law into their hands. They are taking the law into their hands because they know that our security personnel are not up to the task.
What do you recommend, Council?
Look, for this Agogo matter, we have talked about it time without number, and I'm happy you've corrected the situation. It is the Kumasi High Court, not the Supreme Court.
Right.
Part of the decision of that court was to say that let's have grazing grounds that are separate from farmlands. Let's ensure that each one operates within his territory. Has that been taken into consideration? Has the regional administration, Ashanti Regional Administration, tried to implement that? Because some of these cattle are not entirely that of the Fulani men. I'm told some Ghanaian citizens own the cattle, but the Fulani herdsmen are just watching over. Okay. So you will succeed in removing the Fulani man, but you will not succeed in removing the cattle.
Okay.
So for me, this is about conflict between nomadic herdsmen and then farmers. The Agogo people are farmers. The cattle are destroying their farms. How do we ensure that there is grazing ground for the cattle, and there is the farmer to go to his farms? That for me is the way to go. If we don't explore that and want to use force, the situation will be the same because the cattle will not go. The cattle is still here in Ghana, over us. On the Tamale issue, I think that it's unfortunate. These things have been happening ever since I was in Tamale as a boy. You will find that an old lady who might not have given birth because of maybe medical problems is tagged as a witch. And you find young boys, girls, or children stoning her anytime they see her pass by. If there's any calamity in the house, they'll say it's the old lady who visited the calamity brought the calamity onto the family. I think that time has come. I thought these things have minimized. Time has come for us to begin to crack the whip. Education, I think education has been done for far too long.
Right.
I know a number of NGOs in Tamale. Tamale, in fact, is the hub of NGOs who have engaged in educating the people on this.
Right.
It's criminal. You have no right to take away another person's life.
Right.
And so the security agencies should, as a matter of agency, should begin to arrest people and prosecute them. And that is the way to go in this matter.
Right.
It's no more education. There's, in fact, the witches camp, I must tell you, but for the witches camp, you have had more deaths. Because the witches camp are even seen as safe havens. So when they go there, their lives are protected. They may not get food to eat regularly, but at least they are assured that they will not be attacked. So the witches camp is a safe haven because if you dismantle the camp and the people they go back to the community, they will be attacked.
But must we not rise beyond the witches camp?
And that is why I'm saying that the best way to go is prosecution. Now, if you are a neighbor to somebody who has been prosecuted for engaging in those acts, you rethink.
But now the police themselves are being chased off. They're being shot at with AK-47. Their vehicle, operational vehicle, has been attacked. What more can they do?
No, but you don't throw your arms in the air. The way you are talking is to say that the situation is hopeless. It is not. The security agencies, together with the army, joint military police patrols, has proven to be effective than just having the police alone.
Right.
Most people fear to tamper with the military or to want to engage them in this way. I think that this, and even with the Galamsey, didn't they come in conjunction with the army?
Vanguard,
and it has succeeded.
Great.
So I think that in this one, we have to bring in the military to assist the police.
Thank you
in
very
dealing
much.
with the matter.
Thank you. Five. Yes. No.
He's made some brilliant submission, but for the unnecessary propaganda.
You have to speak up for me a bit.
I said he made some interesting submissions.
Right.
But I was wondering where this issue of insecurity and the MPP came from.
We are talking
For
about
me,
insecurity
I'm coming.
in the country.
Because you see, there are certain issues that are of national character. And you need to treat it as such. You discuss it devoid of partisan politicking. This Agogo herdsmen issue, my brother, you are aware it's been perennial. It comes, it goes. It comes. How many times have you to discuss this matter on this your set? Several times. And he himself, he has alluded to the fact that the witches camp story, it has also been there. It's been years. He grew up in Tamale, and he has first-hand knowledge of it. And he's giving some fantastic submission on that. That should tell you that as Ghanaians, anytime certain issues come, we should sometimes just get rid of our political lenses, partisan political lenses. Because I can also sit here and then give a plethora of insecurity issues or stories that bordered on insecurity under NDC. But it is not necessary, because insecurity is a national problem. It is not an MPP problem. It is not an NDC problem. It is a national problem. So, Senior Maliba, I beg you, as I said, you gave a brilliant submission, but leave this thing out. Ever since MPP came into power, we've had instances of insecurity, because I can sit on this set, but it is not necessary.
Let's not go
because
there.
yes, because of what I'm preaching.
Right.
I am preaching, you know, the
conversation devoid of
yes, conversation
politicization.
devoid of partisan politicization. So I will not go on to give examples, but I am only admonishing my senior friend here that if you would distance yourself from such issues, it will help, because in that sense it will not even mar your submission, because you've given some fantastic and brilliant submissions.
Thank you very much.
If dry bones are mentioned, old ladies become uneasy. You see.
Again, this
is
your previous statement.
It was
it's
you.
So inappropriate.
It was
you. Not connected to this discussion.
It was you people in Agogo. It was you people who promised the people that the NDC was not doing enough.
No.
You promised that and said that when the MPP comes,
it is a lie. Do you know what you
would stop all this.
It is a lie. Do you know what?
1 year down the line, here we are. So that's the point I'm making.
This Fulani issue.
But this is a national.
It's a national matter. So you have to.
Fulani issue. It was there under President Kufuor's regime. It was there under President Kufuor's regime. We never politicized it. We were rather saying that, okay, especially what you said, that we should have a space for the animals,
for grazing.
Right, so that they would not destroy the farmlands. And that has always been.
I think they're doing that in Nigeria.
Very well. They are doing that very well.
That was our position.
So why can't we do it?
Exactly. So if my brother, and then he came to that point, which I fully associate myself with.
But the one you don't want is the one I said that
leave it out.
Your party promised the people. That's what he said.
You know, you have outgrown some of these petty propaganda.
No, you can't beat me.
No, I am not.
You can't beat me.
Anyway, I thank you very much.
He's my senior.
I thank you very much.
You have outgrown. Leave it to.
So you should leave it to them.
I can't take. I won't take it.
You have outgrown.
The Daily Graphic reports on page 23 that 553 SHSs failed to submit returns to the GS. It says 398 out of the 670 senior high schools have failed to submit their returns on the funds released to them under the implementation of the free senior high school policy. Out of the 670 SHSs, 150 of them have so far submitted some of their returns on uniforms, house dress, and school cloth, while the remaining 117 have submitted all their returns covering school uniforms, house dresses, and school cloth. Surprisingly, most of the popular SHS are yet to submit their returns. Says the Professor Poku Amankwa said with the commencement of the second term of the academic year, 20% for perishables representing 22.40 per day students and 92.16 per boarding students would be lodged into the accounts of all schools. He said the implementation was that the amount of each school will depend on the number of signed off-list students the school submitted. On the recurrent fees, each school would receive 67.67 per each Ghana cedis per each student, irrespective of whether day or boarding. So this is the situation. Students are going back tomorrow, and the schools have been submitted their accounts to the GES. The GES is not happy about it, certainly, but if it is the way things will go, Nana, from where you sit, is this situation worrying for us, and will it affect the free SHS policy?
No, it is worrying. And you see, you remember some few weeks ago, or maybe few months, remember the headmistress of Adan Secondary School?
Right.
In her delivery, during the speech and prize giving day. No, I think the president of CHAS.
Right.
And I think she also happened to be the headmistress for Adan.
Yes. Right.
She made some, I don't want to describe them as, falsehood also, but then she made some allegations. And then GES quickly came to counter. Her point then was that even food that at a point in time was supposed to be delivered to the schools were not in the schools yet. And we had issues of it because, and especially even the subventions, the monies that, not the subventions, the monies that were supposed to go. And GES quickly came and then said that even out of the over 600 schools, only 63 had submitted their returns.
Right.
I was worried because I said, no, then GES should move in quickly to act. Because if you're expecting something from an institution you work with, and that will even make your work smooth. And they are not bringing the returns. I don't know the reason. Then for me, you should rather deploy people to the schools and go and bring the returns. Set a task force. Go into the schools. Because we are talking about free SHS here. If the monies don't go, it will sabotage the program.
Okay.
It will bring the program down.
In fact, the GES
the entire
says that
project is pinned on its financial obligations.
The GES says that the upfront payment is to ensure that they're able to buy food.
That was just 20% of it.
Exactly.
Yes.
That they're able to buy food. So if you don't submit the list signed, the total number of students, how do you get the money?
The solution is simple. They should set up a task force. They should move into the schools and go and bring the information. Because I don't know why they have waited all these while. And it's simple. You see, all that they are asking for is the number of students in your schools.
Right.
And the bills you have.
So why has it become difficult for the schools?
So for me, GES should not throw their hands in despair.
Right.
Because any attempt, number one, would delay payment, and any delay in payment would affect the smooth running of the free SHS. So for me, they should set up a task force. GES is a huge institution, huge. In fact, they have offices down to the district level.
Right.
They should send their officers to the schools, then bring the information. Because if you are waiting for them, and then we had this about 2 months ago or 3 months ago, we were talking about the same matter. And I thought that because the story had broke then obviously that will tickle the heads of institutions to bring the returns. But if 3 months at time, for me, this story is even worrying because I thought by now they should have submitted their returns, their money should have been paid to them, and that is it.
The children are going to school tomorrow. What do you foresee?
That is the issue here. That is my problem here. Because that is where, in a way, again, Professor Boko Mankwai is a very senior friend of mine. And I would humbly call him and suggest to Prof.
You call him after the program?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And suggest to Prof. That Prof, if they are not bringing the returns, you go into the schools and go and take your returns. You can do that. Because you have to pay them. The students must eat. And there are so many bills in the schools that government is taking care of. But if you don't bring your returns, it is going to be very difficult for them to reconcile the bills and then the payment they have to make to you.
Is the money available though for funding?
It is. It is.
The money is available.
Yes. The money is readily available as I speak. There are no qualms about that. But obviously, financial obligations, there are procedures as well. You cannot just, from your own mind, assume that there are 5 people in this school, so you just take some monies out to them. Because don't forget, there is also an accountability aspect of every financial obligation that that is associated with any institution. So for me, that is one way. If they are not bringing it, my brother, GES is a huge institution. They have their offices down to the district level. They should move into the schools and then bring out the information.
I'm all about stage 2 of free SHS, and this is the issue we have. The schools haven't submitted their returns. School reopens tomorrow. Schools reopen tomorrow, I beg your pardon, and the GES is crying foul. And Abachi says the money is there.
You see, to be honest with you, I'm disappointed at GES. Of all the problems facing the free SHS, is this what they are interested in and want the Ghanaian to know when they can quietly work on this? I thought that the GES would have been telling the Ghanaian people how the congestion that we saw in the first term would be reduced. I was expecting the GES to tell us how they have taken steps to ensure that we have enough furniture. Because in the introductory stage, the first term, we saw people, students, sitting on blocks.
Right.
And that was an eyesore. I expected them to be dealing with these matters. Because if school is reopening, we do not want to hear similar incidents that occurred in the first term. Then it will be like we are a nation that has not learned. So I wanted to know, GS, have you been able to rectify the problems associated with the free SHS? One of it is overcrowding, another is lack of furniture, and even there were some schools which reported that parents were made to pay some monies.
Right.
Indeed, in some schools, a parent told me that in the school that the child attended, the uniform that was supposed to be given to the child, they are supposed to be 2, but they gave her 1. I expected that the GES would deal with these matters. But if it is submitting of returns, this is an internal matter where your officials are recalcitrant. You don't need to report this to us. What are you doing to ensure that the returns come? That is an internal matter. But what preoccupies the mind of the Ghanaian parent is my child going back to the same conditions as he found himself? We also saw some issues of health issues. Parents will be hesitant to know that, oh, if my child goes back there, it's going to be the same. So there should have been some reassuring coming from the GS, but not issues of returns. Look, it's not only in GS. In other institutions, returns are not sent, but they don't come out to say that returns are not sent. You trigger the disciplinary processes and punish people for not sending. If you come out with this kind of a statement, as if you are eliciting for our sympathy, no.
Nanabachi says the money is available. Finance was a big issue, but he says the money is now available. Do you share in that view?
No, but I've heard government say it has released funds for the next batch. Normally, what we saw in the first semester was that when headmasters speak and try to contradict what the government is saying, they are being punished. You saw headmasters being transferred. You saw headmasters, some being removed from their position, some even dismissed. I would wait for the term to begin. Now they say they've lodged their money in their accounts. When school reopens today or tomorrow, the headmasters will now go and check in their account, and they will come back to tell us whether that has been done. But I'm saying that for the returns, this is not an issue. If you rank the problems associated with free SHS, submission of returns is the minutest. It is.
We should be talking about.
It is too infinitesimal, too little a thing. So the bigger problems, have we been able to deal with them? Are the children going back to the similar conditions, or there's improved conditions? That's what we want to hear.
That's what we want to hear. Interesting. Yes. Let's wrap up on yes.
Again, my senior brother Maliba should put things in there. He mentioned of some heads being sacked.
That's true.
No, but we are aware of what happened. It was not in relation to this. It was in relation. Number one, remember that the bills that government.
But there was one in Accra, I think one of the precinct schools, where the head complained about the absence of furniture, and the head was sent off. In fact, Magdan had to provide furniture, and I don't know if that head has been reinstated or not.
No, but was it because the head complained?
Yes, she complained of furniture.
No, I'm not. She complained.
We covered that story here.
But I'm saying that was it because she complained? I mean, sometimes because there was a release from GS.
We covered that story. In fact, we had intel on that story.
Did you speak to GS?
Yes, we did.
And then what did GS say?
We did.
That they sacked the woman because she complained about furniture?
The issue in question was about furniture. We covered that story.
I get your point, but my point is that you spoke to GES and GES told you that indeed the woman was transferred or sacked because she complained about furniture. I think no. I mean, journalism should be both sides. So once you have covered the story, I fully agree with you. But my point is that did you speak to GES? So it cannot be the case that maybe she was transferred or I don't know whether she was sacked, but she was transferred because she complained about furniture. But my point is that there are some heads who were asked, who were transferred, who were removed from their schools because don't forget they were charging unapproved fees.
Right.
And that was then. That is what I remember. And indeed, that warning was straight coming from the Ministry of Education that we will not allow anybody to charge unapproved fees because some of these fees are already absorbed by the government.
Point well noted.
And so I mean, these are some of the issues. We need to put things in the right place.
I thank you. Now let's check out some of your WhatsApp messages here on the NewDay show, on the paper review. And interesting, most of them are on the Fulani issue. People are actually living about it. It says, I'm a service personnel. Before man and God, I haven't received anything. That's a national service person saying that he's not received any money at all. Nanabuachi. No personnel has received any allowance for December here in East Mamprusi district, he says. Well, Nanabuachi, two people said they have not received anything. Well, I don't know why the screen is freezing, but anyway. But these are two from East Mamprusi.
I told you that
they said they have not received any money.
I told you that I would rather defer to the newspaper than even him. So that's what is happening.
No, what I told you was that 98% pay, and I told you there are some issues as well. Probably these are genuine issues I mentioned of. I didn't say everybody has received. For all you know, the person has already done the service. He's seeking to be paid for the service that he's doing, but maybe he's done the service already. So these are some of the issues I'm talking about. But because if you even open your phone lines, there are so many national service personnel who also attest to the fact that indeed they have received the allowance.
Thank you. In Ghana, what is this is what we would face when people who are put in office to tend to neglect their work, and what the MPP man said, there are big men interested in the Fulani issue, and that's true. Also, why is it that anytime there's an issue, there are issues to talk to the MPP communicators, they bring in free education? The fact is things are not well as they claim. Ask the MPP man to come again. Prosper in Tema is not happy. Good morning, TV3. Nana Baumia-led government has failed Ghanaians in terms of security because Delta Force and all their vigilante groups had no respect for our security men and women. Until these people are prosecuted, some people will continue to attack our security men and women. Philip Yim from Tongo. Johnny, the MPP has failed woefully when it comes to security in this country. Mobile money vendors are being attacked daily and the police are watching. If not for our prayers, God's mercy, we would all have been dead by now. Alexander Semoji in Dansuma. Good morning. Sorry about that. If now a non-Ghanaian Fulani headsman can trigger a gun at our security personnel who are in charge of our safety, How much more the ordinary citizen? God help us. Hashtag Fulani out of Ghana. Daniel, greetings to you and your listeners. The government should be up and doing. This Fulani headsmen cannot continue to harass Ghanaians, I'm sure you want to say, on our own land. Mystic in Sawam Etuechu. In fact, insecurity in this country is too much, and the MPP, period. Shaggy says so. His Excellency Nanado has done marvelously well. 1 year in office by implementing free SHS in just 9 months in office, with this lot of money putting in the free SHS, trying to manage the economy to make it one of the best in Africa. Kudos. Ghanaians say thank you to Nanado. In Fulani, herdsmen have the right to shoot at security men. Then we, the ordinary people on the streets, can be mishandled at any point in time. Good morning to Abraham Amaliba from Aboyum Job in Bolga. With the Agogo issue, Ghana should begin to look at how to introduce cattle ranching. This would help the problem once and for all. Oscar Apima in Pandai. And good morning, Johnny. On the Agogo issue, if Galamsey people can kill a soldier, people going to court to chase people, etc., why wouldn't they have the veto power to attack our security people? This is lawlessness, and our president must act now. Bernard Blessing from Ho. And when Nana B and his government was in opposition, Christmas has never been good. Now they are in power. Christmas is good. Ayo. Yati, 2020, we go show Nana. Nelson Akologo in Takwa says so. Interesting there. Let's wrap up, gentlemen. And we have just about 4 minutes to go, so 2 minutes each for you. The courts is set to sit on the ex-NCA boss and 4 others on that communication gadget, monitoring gadgets that brought about a lot of, issues. Amaliba, twice in a week, they will have to go to court. What do you say to this?
Well, I think that the court is determined to dispose of this matter expeditiously, and that's why they gave them twice a week. I think the judge was even suggesting that they should come every day.
Well, 5 days a week, right?
That was not possible because the lawyers will also have to eat. That's not the only case they do. So if you say you just spend your time in one case, how about the other cases? The lawyers must also eat.
Right.
So, but I have looked at the charges. I've seen the charges. The prominent one, there are 17 charges, but the prominent one is the one they said causing financial loss to the state.
Absolutely.
I don't want to preempt the court, but I think that they will have the prosecution will have an uphill task, even proving that. Because if you say causing financial loss to the state, when the equipments are there, the equipments that they said that they had bought are there, so how is it a financial loss? The fact that you could have bought it less than me does not mean that I have caused financial loss to the state. If I engage in genuine negotiations and you cannot show that I have benefited from the transactions, you can't say that I've lost. But of course, financial loss to the state. But let's see how it unfolds. I'm even understanding that it will be going to be difficult to get their first prosecution witness. I am told that they wanted to use one of the guys as prosecution witness. I think the one they paid them, the local agent.
Right.
But he refused to do that. So let's wait and see on Tuesday how it unfolds.
Nanabi, take your bite on this one.
Certainly, I will also not preempt the court, but I would only advise that my brother Amaliba should not create more problems for accused persons. He sought to say that it will be an uphill tax for the prosecution. Meanwhile, in one breath, he's saying that he's not going to preempt the court. I think the matter is before the law court. They have been slapped with some charges. And obviously, because it's a criminal charge, it's a criminal case, you need to prove beyond reasonable doubt.
Right.
And certainly in our criminal jurisprudence, it is always, because of the criminal nature of it and because the consequences can amount to incarceration of that person. So certainly, you would have to prove that indeed the person really did something wrong. And the charge is woefully causing financial loss to the city. Again, I've also read the story, I've also read the charges. And let's see what will come in the law court. For me, I will not preempt anything.
Right.
Let's move on. But my point is that I'm only admonishing the NDC that they should not be saying that their people are being witch-hunted. Honestly. Because in one breath last year, when the prosecution had not started, They were hopping from one station to the other. You said we are criminals. You prosecute us. In 1 year, you have not even done anything. And then we said, no, we don't want to witch hunt. It is not as if we want to go and find trouble where there's no trouble. But these issues are criminal matters. You cannot just put before people the law court because you want to do so and because you want to fulfill your campaign promise that you set up a special prosecution to deal with corruption. Right. So you are prosecuting people. No. We want to make sure that every case we send to the law court, it will be grounded on solid facts, evidence-based. So that is what we kept saying. And the president even himself alluded to that fact, that indeed, he does not want to witch hunt. So please, Mr. Maliba, try and advise your people.
But they have not said anything yet.
That's why I'm coming to. This, your advice is unnecessary. Okay. On this matter of NCA, the NDC has not said that there is witch hunt.
No, I'm not saying anything.
And I'm saying that we don't need your advice.
No, you don't have
we don't need his advice.
It's okay.
We know what we are doing.
It's okay.
We have presented ourselves. We have competent lawyers we have competent lawyers.
You don't decide how I will tailor my submission.
But you can't also tell us that you want to
advise. It's an advice. You can also advise.
Don't worry. No, we don't want advice from our opponent.
No, because do you know why I'm saying that? My senior brother Maliba here is on record to have said that even the matter before the Chief Justice, the EC's problem.
Right.
If it doesn't go his way, there will be chaos.
Who doesn't know that Nana Akufo-Addo is behind the removal of the EC boss?
You see,
but
this is so unfortunate.
I have said it. I've said it.
This is so
unfortunate.
You don't have the facts to prove
the president, the MPP, the president, President Nana Akufo-Addo, the president Nana Akufo-Addo. What problems? You can hear
him. You don't have the facts.
Nana Akufo-Addo, the president, MPP are behind the removal of the EC boss.
It means it was Mahama who was behind it.
I know.
That is what he's saying.
Amaliba, you don't have the facts.
I know, we know.
So
I can give you examples to show that it is the MPP that is behind the attempt to move.
Similar process.
The president is behind it.
I thank you very much, gentlemen. That's Nana Boachi, aka Nana B, is the Deputy Executive Director at the National Service Secretariat in charge of operations, is a member of the MPP's communication team. Thank you, Nana. Grateful. And lawyer Maliba is a member of the NDC's communication team. Council, I thank you very much for your time. And one more time, these people will go and drink coffee. Don't be misled. I'll see you after the break. Welcome back, and thank you very much for staying with us here on New Day. Let's have a conversation with the Food and Drugs Authority, and James Latte is the man who speaks for the authorities. Join us. Happy New Year, Chief. It's been a long time.
Yes.
So we woke up to hear, I mean, before the Christmas season, that the FDA has placed a ban on adverts of alcoholic nature. On TV, and we can play that before 8 p.m. How is it going so far, the enforcement?
Well, we are monitoring, and I must say that some stations are complying. We've noticed that. And some, as usual, have decided not to. But what we are doing is that it's an enforcement thing we have to do. You understand? We started monitoring, we started doing some recordings. We will be briefing the police. Already they are aware to assist us to deal with the issue. So I said, I think that's definitely to be complied with. I believe that.
Then comes the question of those who are on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp. How are you working your way into those fields as well?
The regulation that we have at the moment concentrates on TV and radio.
Okay.
You understand? So for the meantime, that is what we are looking at. And regulation is dynamic.
Right.
Along the line, if there's a need to extend it into other areas, why not? Already when it comes to billboards, we have a regulation on billboards.
Okay.
That when you are citing a billboard, don't cite the billboard 200 meters. It should be more than 200 meters to a first cycle, second cycle, or preschool, or any playing ground of children, or any facility that children, maybe uses.
Right.
You are not supposed to place.
But is this respected?
Oh yes. What we do is that you see we do a lot of monitoring.
Right.
So when we go around and we notice that you place a billboard closer to a school, we have to remove. And they really.
Is this just removal, or must some sanctions prevail that would deter people?
No, we add sanctions to it.
For example,
the Parliament passed an LI for us.
Right.
Per that LI, that's what we call Fees and Charges Act. We can institute an administrative fine.
Okay.
Of not less than 25,000 Ghana cedis and no more than 75,000 Ghana. And this we have been applying it on a lot of our clients. Yes.
Interesting though. So this year is begun, and we want to know what the plans of the FDA, for example, is. Apart from this alcoholic thing, what else are we looking at?
FDA is looking at 3 main things this year. The first one is to do a lot of public education and sensitization.
Okay.
A lot. That's what we want to do. Secondly, to do a lot of collaboration with institutions like, GIBA, NMC.
Okay.
Talk about institutions like the police, district assemblies. We really want to strengthen our collaboration with all these institutions because we know it will help us do a better job. And the last one that we are looking at is enforcement.
Enforcement, great.
To enforce the aspects of the law.
I see.
You understand? Yeah.
So 3 things. I remember about a year ago, the subject matter of vegetables and carrot and cabbage and lettuce and all those ones that are planted in the gutters. They're still ongoing. Have an element of fecal matter in there. It's a subject of enforcement.
Yes.
The year has begun. Doctors keep telling us, eat fruits, eat vegetables, but where are you going to eat the vegetables and it has fecal matter? It comes into your domain. What is the plan for enforcement?
Some time ago, I would say that this was solely being handled by Ministry of Agri. But when you look into our law, there's a part that we ought to play. Currently, we have a department called the Agro Products Department, Animals and Agro Products Department. And this department is liaising a lot with the Ministry of Agri and other stakeholders to get some streamline when it comes to these areas. So yes, it's something we are very much aware of. And already we started working with them to make sure that these people are sensitized.
Are there timelines to this? Because if you go towards the Obechebi Labti roundabout, it's there, Jawulu, all over.
Yes.
And these come onto the table. So you want to eat healthy, but what you are eating...
when it comes to these things, when you say you are given a timeline, you rather need to do a lot of education, let the people know, because they are the people producing it. They bring onto the market and we need it. So what you need to do is to do a lot of training. Let them understand why they shouldn't use this type of water to water, what they should do, and the
but Mr. Lati, they plant in the gutters.
I know.
They plant in the gutters. So if we're talking about other forms of water, it's still the space for planting is still in the gutter.
What I can say is that I know that we are doing a lot of sensitization when it comes to this. And I'm sure with time, this is will be dealt with.
How much time? That's the point. It's been a year. It's been a full year. And if you go to your regular wachi seller or you buy your coleslaw, you don't know where it came from. It may have elements of fecal matter. Fecal matter, diarrhea, typhoid, cholera, name all of those ones. So we are buying diseases with our money. And it's worrying.
Understand. The FDA is very concerned about these things. Honestly, if I'd known that this particular issue would have come, I would have picked 1 or 2 information from that particular department. Because I know they are doing a lot about it. Maybe I don't have the info. I know they are doing a lot.
I asked that because you mentioned enforcement. And speaking of enforcement as well, I'm sure the issue of abattoirs have come to your attention.
Yes.
Your own regulation says that you can't transport carcass or meat below a certain temperature. It has to be in a certain refrigerated temperature. It gets to the market, it has to be refrigerated. What we see out there is not what the regulation says. And add to that, the abattoirs are not there. So yes, in as much as maybe a collaborative effort between you, the veterinary services, and Agric, what is missing in the triangle?
You rightly said that when you are transporting these things, you need to transport them with their cold vans.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
You know, the question we have to ask is that how many cold vans we have?
But why don't we have them?
Yes. So you see, all these things are things that are being enforced now. It's something that we are trying to put them into place. Because we're a developed country, and I must be honest with you. When you are trying to bring streamline into this area, sometimes it's quite difficult.
Right.
But it's something we know the health implications, and therefore we are really pushing for it to be enforced. Because it's very important we do that. So we safeguard public health and safety.
The abattoirs, where are they? There's one in Tema, there's one at
Medina, there's one in Medina, and there's some in the other regions.
But where are they? Where are they in Accra, for example? If you're talking 5-6 million people, and there are only 2 abattoirs. So if I buy my goat or sheep from Bode, I'll have to take it all the way to the Spintex Road to Medina. If I don't, I will have to go and slaughter it in my house.
We need to, in fact, what we need to do is to encourage a lot of these things to be done. The point is that I don't think as a nation, maybe that facility is there, we have provided it. It's individuals that are doing it. You understand? I don't know whether the one at Spintex belongs to the government. I don't know.
Right.
You understand? But I know it is something that individuals have gone into it. So it's a matter of doing a lot of maybe sensitization, encouraging people to go into this business. The one at Medina, I know very well belongs to a private person.
Absolutely.
You understand?
Absolutely.
And I know there are other ones. So the point is that we just need to do a lot of, talk about it and let people go into it. Because I know it's a very good business.
Right.
I know it's a very good business.
Right.
Yeah.
Can we make a proposal, the FDA, for example, to Parliament to say, let's push the government to get this done?
Yes, why not?
Can we make a proposal to
Yes,
Parliament?
why not?
Because
it's a necessity.
It is, and the kind of job that it creates for the teeming youth is quite worrying.
Yes.
Mr. James Latte, I thank you very much. Your closing thoughts as we part company.
I just want to appeal. I'm talking on the issue of the advertisements.
Right.
I want to appeal to the media. You understand? To your medium, that they should just comply with this directive.
Right.
They should understand that it's purely for public health.
What has become of your meeting with Giba? They say that it will affect revenue and all of that.
Well, I was quite surprised to hear 1 or 2 comments from Giba. I must be honest with you.
Okay.
The reason being that Giba was part of a stakeholder meeting that signed a communique calling on FDA to enforce every aspect of the regulation in relation to advertisement.
Right.
Which we are enforcing. You understand? All of them signed to it. About 17.
So what happened in the meeting? The meeting that you had?
They've not had a meeting with us yet.
Okay.
After they mentioned it, well, we are waiting, but they've
not come. Mr. James Latte, I thank you very much. James Latte is the Public Relations Officer of the Food and Drugs Authority, and we're speaking on a couple of issues. Your thoughts and comments, as always, welcome. But there's more here on New Day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Well, let's get talking about farming and agriculture, because some crop varieties in the northern region are nearing extinction owing to severe climate change. Eva Atiboka reports that erratic rains during last year made it impossible for the cultivation of some crops.
The agriculture calendar in the northern parts of Ghana is fast experiencing change. Rains are becoming incredibly erratic owing to climate change threatening food security.
Yore, ma polekpani, kang marko, yore de, anyin zanza, kopotenza atetamuga chen later.
Farming is now a struggle. We do not get rains at the right time to sow, so we are mostly trying our luck and praying to God for what to feed on.
It was late because normally cropping starts in northern region in those good days, late or mid-April. But you can see that this year, many of the farmers planted in June.
Sowing is expected to be done in April, while harvesting of some early maturing varieties done in August. But farmers are always behind the calendar. In late July 2017, some farmers were still making holes to sow with no hope of yield. Others simply abandoned their farms. A few defied the dreadful weather and sowed with the early erratic rains. The rain ceased afterwards.
A serious disaster. We have never experienced this kind of drought for the past 30 years. As you see the crops this way, it's because of the drought. The last time it rained is about 3 weeks now. And because of that, every farmer in this community is a frustrated man.
Year on year, farmers in the 3 regions of the north have resorted to abandoning the cultivation of some traditional crops to fast-yielding crops.
We're farming more than 8 crops, be it millet, be it bambaram beans, be it a certain local food we call adwa, and cassava, yam. We're all part of our farming activities.
Well, the situation out there may seem dire, but of course, all hope is not lost, because I have in studio joining me Mr. Thomas Abanga. He's the owner of Abanga Farms and A&G Agromechanical Industries, and he's doing well. So we're going to engage him in conversation to find out exactly how he goes about it. Good morning, Mr. Abanga.
Good morning.
So there's a story out there. Some farmers seem to have a real challenge with the change in climate affecting their produce, but the story is not like that on your farm. Tell me how you do it.
Well, you know, just want to thank our viewers and wish everybody, especially our farmers, a happy new year and a prosperous one. Like I keep saying, the agric is science. You know, climate change and agriculture, they are all intertwined. And the way we treat our soil, the way we treat our environment responds to climate change. If we are going to mitigate climate change, we have to go into basics. We have to understand that the world have moved. They've jumped frog in terms of agriculture. Innovation is what is in agriculture. The way we prepare our land, the way we develop our land, the way we prepare our land, the way we sow, our agronomic practices that we apply, they are all mitigation factors that will actually reduce climate change. If you look at, let's say, planting season from June, let's say you planted in June. Now, this year, you should be looking at coming at least 2 or 3 weeks backwards. Do you understand what I'm saying? So based on that, we'll be able to change those things. And actually with me, I follow the trend. And data is very important. Also, applying agronomic practices is extremely important. So if we are able to actually get our land preparation right, especially land development, land preparation, and apply the right agronomic practices, definitely we'll be able to mitigate climate change, because all of them are all together.
Certainly, I hear you loud and clear, but would it be that, because for most of us, or what I understand is that the people on the ground, the farmers, seem to know or understand the way things work, but they still are complaining that the rains hit them hard and they didn't know a way around it. So would you think that your educational background or something makes you different when it comes to the farming practices?
You see, I think what happens is that most of those farmers, local farmers, they understand farming more than I do. I think the element that they are missing is the innovation factor. I mean, we have innovation right now in agriculture. We have certain countries that even use their tractors, just GPS, there are no people operating it. We are far behind. We have people who are doing scientific farming. Do you understand what I'm saying? We're still behind. So I think the gap is between having the real education in terms of making the farmers, our local farmers, understand that agriculture is science. That's where the gap is. So I think if we're able to educate them and say, look, we need, before you develop your land, even before you prepare your land, before you sow, we need to do soil testing. How many of those local farmers understand soil testing? We have to test the soil and know what type of crop, what type of fertilizer we need to apply. And this is the gap. And we need to get, as a nation, we need to understand that there's an agency. And like I keep saying, that we need to divorce politics from agriculture.
Certainly.
Whether you are MPP, you are NDC, you still have to eat. You understand? And also agriculture is what drives our economy. Can you imagine the importation of rice, the amount of hard currency that we send outside? If those currencies were to live in this country, it will help to what? To defect inflation. It will help to grow our GDP. So these are things that affect us as a nation. You know, I don't think agriculture has any political culture.
Certainly, it doesn't. But final one before we wrap up. I'm interested in knowing how the army worms affected your lands, because you are in the north as well, and we hear that the situation is still dire out there when it comes to army worms.
That's another big thing, you know. We tried, instead of doing prevention, you know, in everything. I understand you are a medical doctor, but if in everything we need to have preventive measures.
Right.
We know that there's armyworms. The question is, what are the preventive measures are we putting as a nation? Educating our farmers, look, you need to do this type of thing, you need to practice this to avoid that. We're not doing that.
Certainly. But finally, tell me a little about mechanical farming.
Well, mechanization mechanization is very important because mechanization encompasses land preparation, the machinery, the type of machineries we use. And what we need to do is that we need to come to basics and have the right machineries. And as A&G Agromechanical, we supply tractors. And I think what we need to have well-equipped mechanization centers. And those centers should be partnered with private sectors. I think the government need to the private sectors, find us some private sector who are actually in tune with agriculture, be able to grow the sector.
Certainly. Well, it has been a very interesting discussion, but time will not afford us to delve into it. We'll certainly get him back on studio to talk to us more about what he does on his farms. I've been speaking to Mr. Thomas Abanga. He's the CEO of Abanga Farms and A&G Agromechanical Industries. We'll take a break. We'll be back. Stay with us. Well, guys, it's time for us to go. It's been a beautiful morning here with you. Midweek, it's Wednesday, 10th January. The month is seemingly going to an end, even though it just started.
It's getting to the middle, actually. I mean, today, exciting. Hopefully, we'll be on radio 3 to 4 p.m. for the later edition show. But I like what Mr. Thomas Amanga says, that, look, we must start taking politics off, separating politics from. And I'm happy, for him because he has the biggest rice farm in Ghana. And for me, we need people like that to encourage a lot more younger people to
because interestingly, he says he didn't see anything like armyworm on his farm, which means he's doing something right. So but we could learn instead of politicizing it and saying it's MPP, it's NDC. Because at the end of the day, like he rightly said, whether MPP or NDC, we have to eat.
You must eat.
Food must come.
Anyway, we gotta go. Tomorrow is Thursday. We'll be back on your TV screens. But know that if you can think it and your heart can believe it, only you can achieve it. Have a great day.
Certainly.
And today, Amma, hopefully will dance.
I'll dance in my chair. You know that's what I do best. I'm
Play me the song now.
Madam. Today that we want to dance, don't give us a song.